Sometimes when you come out of Accra, it feels like you're going on holiday and you have a very tight budget. You will not want to start with Accra. Accra, when it comes to land, you're going to be able to build for a lot less. Let me tell you something. But if you say to someone, do you know where so-and-so's house is? They'll be like, oh, yeah, I know where that house is. And they can direct you. You don't have to live in fear of, are they going to come home? Let me also just throw this in the mix. Might as well, seeing as we're here. I'm a huge germaphobe. I won't lie to you, I am. If you're in that space and you go outside of Accra and you create these things, you will be like literally a one-off. Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, today's video, I want to talk about Accra and why everybody, when they move to Ghana, wants to move to Accra. But before I get into that video, I want to tell you all about Lemfi. Lemfi is a great money-changing app. It is great if you are abroad in the West and you want to send money back home to an African country. They are amazing for that. I personally use them all the time. They're fast, reliable. Right now, if you use my code Dela, they will give you cash back on your first qualifying transaction. Definitely go ahead, download the Lemfi app and do yourself a right. So let's talk about Accra. Now, for some reason, everybody thinks that if you're moving to Ghana, it means Accra. Accra has essentially, in some people's minds, become Accra. Accra is Ghana. If you're going to Ghana, it means you're going to Accra. But that is not necessarily the case. Ghana is made up of 16 different regions, and literally you can have your pick and choose of many of them. Accra just happens to be the most popular because everything is pretty much concentrated. So you can imagine how congested and how built up Accra can sometimes feel, especially in this season, December season. It can definitely feel very, very overwhelming, especially if you've never been to Ghana before, then Accra can definitely feel like that. Now, Accra is what most people hear of because, like I said, it's a place where most things are concentrated. There are a lot of businesses here. There are a lot of head offices here. A lot of people, you know, this is just, they feel like this is where it's happening. And to some extent, it is true, right? If you're looking for a heavy night scene, then Accra is where you'll want to be. But if you're talking about coming to Ghana and moving here and living here, then Accra may not be exactly what you're looking for. You may want to try one of the other places. Now, some of the other regions, there are benefits to it that people don't even know. Now, for me personally, I live in Accra, but sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I lived somewhere else. And sometimes it feels like when you head out of Accra, you get a completely different sense of self. You feel completely different. It is like, sometimes when you come out of Accra, it feels like you're going on holiday because you get this relaxed environment. It's a slower pace. So if you're from somewhere where it's been very busy and you've always been go, 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 and all you want to do is just calm down, just slow down, then Accra may not be the best place for that. One of the other regions outside of Accra is probably going to suit you better if that is what you would prefer. Your quality of life outside Accra is going to be a lot better. When I think about Accra, immediately the things that come to mind, traffic, noise, congestion. It's like in Accra, there's always things happening. There's a lot of hustle and bustle happening. And so sometimes that can get overwhelming unless you choose to get used to it. You have to make a conscious effort to get used to it. But outside of Accra, things are a lot more slower, a lot calmer. There are a lot more benefits. Especially, I would say, if you're moving to Ghana for health reasons, right? Then I wouldn't honestly advise Accra for that reason. Just because if you really want to become in tune with yourself and you really want to take some time out to just find yourself and just feel different, then I definitely wouldn't move to Accra. I would probably, me personally, I would go to Volta region. I haven't been to all the regions, by the way. Let me just add that little disclaimer there. I personally would go to probably Volta region or one of the other places outside. I mean, and even when we're talking about outside Accra, you don't have to go so far out of Accra, right? There are plenty nice places in Central region as well. Cape Coast is also very beautiful. If you like that beachy feel, then, you know, like Ada, Keta, those areas, Volta region is going to be beautiful. That Cape Coast's wonderful for that. Especially if you like the beautiful palm trees and those aesthetics suit you, then definitely that's a great place to go. Accra is not going to give you that aesthetic. Accra is really, I personally would say Accra is great for networking. If you're trying to build a presence for yourself, for your brand, then I would say Accra can be great for that. That doesn't mean that the other regions can't offer you some of that. But if you're looking for something concentrated and intense, then yes, Accra is where you're going to do it. Accra is where you're going to meet a lot of influential people doing things, then yes, Accra is for that. But if that is not what your goal is, I personally would say start somewhere a bit slower. And later on, if you feel like, okay, you know what, I would like to move back and be a little bit more in the thick of things now. I've kind of relaxed. I sort of have got my bearings and all that. Then you can come back to Accra. That's actually a really nice way to do it. But in terms of quality of life, outside Accra is definitely going to be better for that, especially if you have kids. If you have kids, I mean, who doesn't want to take their kids to the beach all the time and let them run around and have that freedom? Like, that is something that you won't necessarily get in Accra. Now, I will say this, when it comes to kids, right, you can let them go outside. Like, nobody's going to trouble them. You still have that feel where, other people will tell off your kids for doing something naughty. There's that feel about it. Other people will keep their eye on your kids, right? Like crossing the road, they'll help them cross the road and things like that. There definitely is that safety element here in Accra. But if you want real freedom, then outside Accra is going to be great for that. Now, we also can't ignore the fact that outside Accra is a lot cheaper. Now, I know a lot of people move back to Ghana because of the lower cost of living. It's great, your money goes further, your dollars, your pounds, your whatever just goes so much further in Ghana, and that's wonderful. But outside of Accra, your money goes even further. Accra can be expensive, I will not lie to you. Especially when it comes to things like big purchases, right? Like, your rent and, if you want to open up a shop or something, those things are going to be pricey eventually, right? But outside of Accra, the cost is even cheaper. So if you're coming to Ghana and you have a very tight budget, you will not want to start with Accra. You want to, if you want to come to Accra, if you want to come to Ghana, and you have a very tight budget, I would say start outside Accra. Your rent is going to be so much cheaper, and they do still have nice houses outside of Accra. If you're looking for a nice house, it doesn't mean it has to be in Accra. Outside Accra, you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck, okay? You're going to get, for the same price that you're going to, say you rent somewhere in Accra for, let's say 5,000 cedis a month, for example, right? That 5,000 cedis outside of Accra can probably get you double the plot size that you're going to get, right? In terms of space, your living space. You can get something much bigger. Or even if you don't want to spend that much, then you could shrink your budget and spend 2,000 cedis instead of spending the 5,000 that you would spend in Accra. Food is going to be a lot cheaper. Like, moving around is just cheaper. Like, there are so many benefits if you're starting out to being outside of Accra, especially if your budget is going to be tight. And let me also add this. If you are looking to really settle and you want to buy land and things like that, Accra, when it comes to land, let me just throw this side note in. Accra land, first of all, is a lot more difficult to navigate if you're purchasing land and you don't really know what you're doing. It can be very, very difficult to navigate on that side, right? Outside of Accra is going to be a lot easier. But not only that, outside of Accra, land is going to be a lot cheaper. You're going to come across less competition when it comes to purchasing those plots of land as well. So, and also, if you're thinking about, you want to have farmland, you want to, start some rental business or something like that, and you need land, then outside Accra is going to be great for that. Yes, you may not be able to charge Accra prices, but honestly speaking, when I think about the headache that sometimes comes with doing business in Accra, sometimes I'm like, let's just go outside of Accra, because although you're never going to get 100% of there's no issue here, everything's wonderful, it's easy and all that. You're never going to get 100% of that, right? You're going to get it a lot easier outside of Accra. So if you are trying to do farmland or things like that, then definitely go outside of Accra, because you're going to be able to buy acres and acres and acres for a lot less than what you would try to buy it for in Accra. So that is my recommendation to you. If you're going to buy land, even if you're buying land to build a house, then outside of Accra is definitely going to be cheaper on that scale. Now, if you are one of these people that's always had this dream of, I know a lot of us have had it, right? Where, you want to be the first to move to the continent and you want to build this massive house because you want your friends and your family to be able to come. You want to show them a good time. You want to encourage them to also move. Some of us have that dream, right? Then outside of Accra is going to be great for that, because you're going to have so much more purchasing power. You're going to be able to build for a lot less. Let me tell you something. Yay! Building in Accra is not easy. You have seen my struggles. You have seen my sweat. You have seen me break down and cry. You have seen it all on camera during my building process. I'm not saying that if you do it outside of Accra, you're not going to shed a tear. You will still shed a tear, because building is never going to be easy. But it's going to be easier to do it outside of Accra. When it comes to purchasing building materials, when it comes to labor, you're going to get it a lot cheaper out there, honestly speaking. If I could do it all over again, would I build in Accra? Yes, I still would build in Accra, because, here my parents already had the land, so it was an easy start for me. But if I had to start again, would I build in Accra? Probably not. Probably not. I think what I would do is probably build a house somewhere else and then maybe invest in an apartment here so that I can kind of come and go, because, I'm still kind of young, and so I want to be able to, enjoy sometimes what Accra has to offer, especially as I'm building up my network as well. I feel like for me personally, Accra is great because of the space that I'm in. But if you're not in that space, then outside of Accra, that's the one. We also have to think of the community as well. I've already touched on it, but let me just go in a bit more. I remember when I was younger and I used to come to Ghana. I used to come to Ghana every other year as a child. And, I loved it. I used to come and mainly land in Accra, but there were times when we would go to Volta region, right? Because my parents are from Keta. And there was something that I really loved about being in Keta. And it's actually, as I'm speaking about it, is that I'm actually getting a warmth about it, because it was very okay, go outside and play. And then, you'd be walking through the houses and there'd be sand on the floor. You wouldn't care as a child. And it was just fun. It was like this maze. The way that, if you've ever been to Qatar, right? The way that some of the houses are, it's almost like a maze. When you see these mazes these hedge mazes that people go through, it feels like the houses are like that. It's so beautiful. And one of the things I always remember, and even it happened when I went to Qatar a few years ago, I remember I was looking for my dad's house, right? And it's hard to remember where houses are sometimes. It's not like the setup is very different, very, very different. And so it's not like you can just necessarily remember road names. But if you say to someone, do you know where so-and-so's house is? They'll be like, oh, yeah, I know where that house is. And they can direct you to the house. And I'm just like, dang, that's how the community is there. And that feeling there, where else are you going to get something like that? That is beautiful, to be able to say to people, do you know where so-and-so's house is? And they can direct you. The same thing when I went to go see my grandma when she was alive. Do you know where this house is? And they'll be like, oh, yeah. I know where the house is. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, I can take you there. Or they'll just direct you. Oh, it's just, just straight and then straight, kind of thing. And so it's just that gives you such a warmth. And I remember that as a child, just being able to run outside, go to the corner shop with, family and stuff. And it just felt great. Then you have the goats passing you by. Not that you can't have goats in Ghana, you see them sometimes. But it's very, very normal to see the goats passing by you. And, you play these games and then you walk down to the beach and there's that whole thing. And the thing is that because the community is so strong, someone can easily tell you where your kids are. But have you seen my child? Oh, she's just down there playing, or she's gone to so-and-so's house or whatever. That feeling is so unmatched. I can't even explain it to you. Like, if you haven't experienced that, I can't use, I don't know, there's no English language words that I can use to explain to you what that feeling is like. There's something so nostalgic about it that I absolutely love, and I'm so grateful for my childhood that I got to experience that. If you have children, you should definitely let them experience that. So anyway, my point, I'm digressing because I'm just going down memory lane, but my point is that in some of these places outside of Accra, you still get that community feel where everybody knows who your child is. Your child can be going to people's houses, playing with other kids, and you won't bat an eyelid. It's almost like back in the day in the West where, you could allow your child. I remember as a child in the UK, when I was in the UK, go riding my bike with my friends, go riding up and down, and then you come back at a certain time. You don't even have a mobile phone to tell your parents where you are, but they know that you're okay, you're safe, they know you'll be back. Like, that feeling still exists here, in Ghana in some regions, and that is a beautiful feeling. And I feel like every child should have that feeling where they feel safe where they live. I think it's really sad when these days we don't have a space that, we don't worry about our children when they go outside. We're worried that someone's going to take them, something's going to happen to them, Like, these worries we shouldn't have. It's not normal, but we've got to a place now where we feel like some of these things are normal. It's a normal part of growing up now, where, you must make sure that your child has a mobile phone so you can contact them. They can contact you if anything happens. Mobile phones are wonderful. I'm not saying don't give your child a mobile phone, but I'm just saying that it's nice to be able to let your child go outside, and you don't have to live in fear of, are they going to come home? It's wonderful. Even in Accra, you can still have pockets of places where it's like that. Accra is still safe. I say it all the time. Accra is safe. Don't get it wrong. Like, my children go outside, and I don't worry that, oh gosh, are they okay? Looking through the window, see if I can see. Like, I don't have that fear about them when they go outside. But I'm saying that outside of Accra, it's even more so. Like, that feeling is beautiful. It really, really is. Now, I think another point that we can't miss is that, when you're outside of Accra, competition when it comes to business is so much less, okay? If you are thinking about starting a restaurant, you had a dream of starting a restaurant, doing it outside of Accra, it's going to be so much easier to doing it in Accra. And I'm not just talking about logistics. I'm talking about, winning over the locals, be able to make a name for yourself. It doesn't require as much work. In Accra, competition is fierce in some businesses. It's really fierce. And I feel like that competition is only going to get more and more difficult for people, right? I always use restaurants as a reference point, because those are some of the things that you see turn over very quickly, right? They come, they go, they pop up, they do really well. People, especially if you're in an Instagrammable place, they do really well for a certain time, and then they're out of the water because somebody else has come and knocks them out. The business is gone after a couple of years, right? It doesn't go like that. One thing about Accra when it comes to restaurants is people are not loyal. So if you're building a restaurant, like say if I was to build a restaurant, right? And I'm like, oh, everybody comes to my restaurant. I know, because I've been here, so I know people are not loyal. People say, open the restaurant, it's going to be amazing. Oh, I'll come and see you. People are not loyal when it comes to that. They will go to other places because, not even necessarily because it's cheaper. They will go because people just want something different sometimes. And as much as they like your restaurant, there are so many other restaurants popping up that, why are they going to commit to yours? Unless you can give them a very good reason to keep coming back to you specifically, they're going to be going around and trying out some of these other places just because that is what's available to them. Why do I have to eat chicken every day when I can eat goat? I can eat, I can't even think, my brain is gone. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you can eat all these different things. Why stick to this one place? And so restaurant business doesn't really have loyalty. So that makes it difficult. But outside of Accra, there are not as many eating options. So therefore, if you open a restaurant or something like that, or a hotel or something like that, you do it really well, you're gonna get the business that you need to get. And let me also just throw this in the mix, might as well, seeing as we're here, okay? I personally have found every time I've gone outside of Accra, I can never find anywhere to stay that gives me the quality that I want. Me, I'm a huge germaphobe. I won't lie to you, I am. I find it very hard to stay over places. I will rather sleep in my car than I will sleep in certain places. Honestly speaking, I'm bougie, call me whatever you want. Yes, that's me. I know myself, I've made peace with myself, and that is it. Most times I'd rather, if I'm going somewhere, I will come back the same day so I can sleep in my own house, in my own bed. I don't like it. I really don't. And so I haven't really come across amazing places where I'll be like, oh my gosh, this is really nice. I would love to stay here another night. I honestly haven't seen it. So if you are going to open a business and you could open a place that is actually luxury, a lot of the places outside of Accra, I would say are like 3 stars. 4 stars are kind of hard. The 5 stars, I honestly haven't seen any. If you have a 5-star hotel or something like that and you want to put me to the challenge, let me know. I will visit, okay? But honestly, I haven't come across anywhere that I would see and say, this is a lovely place, this is luxury. What I find, and this is just a side note because I'm leaving the video otherwise, a lot of the hotelish kind of places that I've been to, they tend to be these huge rooms that are empty, feel hollow, there's a wardrobe in the side, there's a bed with a chair, and there's nothing else in the room. You can literally hear your own voice echoing back to you. And then they put this cloth, African print cloth across the bed, and that's your room. Then they have a small, tiny little fridge there that you can put some things inside. I'm just like, I just don't get, there's a feeling that I'm looking for when I go into some of these places and I cannot find it. And so therefore, honestly speaking, my experience of going and staying places outside of Accra has not been great, and it's not really one that I look for. I hate dark spaces. Yeah, you know how I am. So, yeah. So if you're in that space and you go outside of Accra and you create these things, you will be like literally a one-off. Like you're the place that people are going to be looking to book because they don't have any other options. So therefore, things like that do very, very well. But try and do that in Accra. You're going to have to work to the bone to promote yourself, to get your business out there, and to continue to get people coming all the time. It's going to be a lot more work for you. So those are just some of the things that you should consider if you are going to be moving to Ghana and even starting a business. Ghana is not made up of just Accra. It's a lot bigger than that. So that's something to think about. Let me know what you think about in the comment section. Yeah, so that's where I'm going to end the video, okay? So if you are moving to Ghana and you would like to do a one-to-one consultation with me, you can send me an email to dela@moretodela.com and we can arrange something from there. If you are looking for a place to stay, if you're just moving to Ghana and you would like a bit of a soft landing, I have 2 one-bedroom apartments which are available for rent, long-term, short-term, all that good stuff. Again, send me an email and we can discuss it from there. And that's the end. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget to also like, comment, and share this video. Until next time, I am out. Nutifafa.